Hello, I'm Lorette Ligon, President of the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of the Chamber membership and our Board of Directors, I thank you for joining us today for our Forum Onslow. The Chamber works with government agencies on issues that affect our business community. We monitor legislative issues that impact local business. We promote partnerships between business, government, military, and education. And we use these forums to create awareness on topics that are important to our entire community, such as the election of those that represent us on the state and local level. Our sponsor for this Meet the Candidates Forum is Jones Onslow Electric Membership Corporation. I would like to invite Steve Goodson, the VP for Communications and Business Strategy for Jones Onslow, to please come forward.
Thank you, Lorette. I will be as brief as I can. How about that? First, good afternoon. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our new CEO, Gary Ray, who started the beginning of November, I want to just tell you guys that we're proud that we're able to sponsor this Meet the Candidates Forum of our Onslow County Commissioners. Events like this align with our core values. And I think more importantly, or as important, they align with one of the 7 cooperative principles that we operate under, and that's concern for community. By actively participating in forums like this, not only us, but you, are contributing to the creation of a vibrant and inclusive community. Personally, Steve Goodson's opinion, I believe that informed citizens are the foundation of a robust democracy. And through events like this, we empower our community members to make well-informed decisions. So thank you again for attending and or viewing, and let us make the most of this invaluable opportunity to engage with those who aspire to lead us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And with that, I'll turn it over now to our moderators, Elliot Potter and Glenn Hargett. Sir, the floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Glenn Hargett, and today we have 10 candidates that are seeking 4 seats on the 7-member Onslow County Board of Commissioners to be filled for the 2024 elections. 9 of them are present. All were invited to participate today at this time. We have some rules about how we'll do things today, and we want to share some of those with you now. This is a forum and not a debate, and you're asked to address the questions that are posed to you, and you're to address the audience and not to address each other. All questions should be general in nature and suitable for all candidates. Opening remarks are 90 seconds. Candidates are asked to state their names and provide background information to introduce yourself, including where you reside and your current occupation. We ask that you give us an idea about why you're running for office. We'll alternate the order of questioning because of the size of the field. We're only allowing 1 rebuttal. In past history, we've allowed more. We'll attempt to call on the rebuttals in the order that the cards were raised at the end of the round. Rebuttals must be limited to 60 seconds and can only be used during the question, not for opening or closing comments. You'll also be called on for a closing statement of not more than 60 seconds. We have a system to let you know how you stand on time. It's on the monitors that are in the room here as it was. And you'll be seeing that we want you to adhere closely to the time limit so we can get as much information in as time. The yellow will be across the bottom of the screen, and it'll let you know that you've just got a few more seconds to go, and we're asking you to start wrapping up at that time. If you see the red part, you know that your time's up, and we ask you complete your sentence and then stop. We're very proud of the decorum that candidates and our audiences have exhibited over the years, and we've been doing the forums. It's a wonderful tradition, and we respectfully ask that we honor it to keep the program moving and fair. We ask the audience to please refrain from applause during the program. We're hoping to keep today's sessions to 90 minutes or less, so please try not to disturb the proceedings if you happen to move around. Anyone who basically disregards those basic guidelines may be asked to leave. And if there's no questions from anyone on that, I'll now introduce Elliot Potter, who will begin the round of questionings here. We will start at this end, and we will proceed through, and then we'll go back. And then to be, so that we can make more random of the deal, we'll start in the middle, and we're going to work our way each and back. We'll call your name, so you won't have to look around to see who's supposed to answer the question this time. I now give you Elliot Potter.
Well, and we'll start with the opening statements. If you're ready to go, Mr. Boone.
I am,
And we will
thank you.
move to your left, down the table.
Thank you. My name's Bill Boone, and I'm a longtime resident of Onslow County. I've had property here for 50 years. I'm a retired maritime captain. We're all very uneasy with the current state of affairs in America today. The political class, from the county level to the highest offices in the land, have very obviously failed the people. Many of our politicians have been in office for decades. If they're not the problem, they're obviously not the solution. For 3 years, America First Patriots, MAGA, have stepped up to fight for our republic, have stepped up to serve. And at all levels, from here in Onslow County to the nation as a whole, they have been vilified, persecuted, and shunned. Yet here we are, and we're ascendant. America First Patriots believe in our constitutional republic, and the county is the foundation of our republic. The counties are the yew trees of our republic. Yew trees live 1,000 years, and as the core ages, the newer growth keeps the tree healthy. To make America great again, we need to make Onslow great again. To save the republic, we need to start here in Onslow County. We need to elect patriots who want to serve the people instead of themselves here in Onslow and all across the nation. Vote we the people. Thank you.
Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you. I'm Paul Buchanan. I'm here with my wife, June. I want to thank the Chamber, and I want to thank Elliot and Glenn and everybody that's participated here today. I've been a resident of Onslow County since 1969 after receiving an honorable discharge from the United States Marine Corps to include service in Vietnam. Began public service with the Onslow County Sheriff's Department in 1970 as a mounted deputy sheriff. In 1974, I joined the Jacksonville Police Department serving as a supervisor in charge of Special Operations Division and Bison Narcotics Investigations Evidence Division. Promoted to a commander in charge of the SWAT team and Department Training Division of Jackson Police Department. I received 2 Purple Hearts, one in Vietnam and one in Onslow County when I was working as a deputy sheriff in Swansboro and Glancy Lane, where I was shot by Glenn Glancy. Currently serving as the director of law enforcement training at Coastal Carolina Community College. I am a North Carolina Western College graduate with a BS degree in criminal justice. Hold numerous specialized instructor certifications, professionals, and credentials and memberships. Have 3 grown daughters, 8 grandchildren. My wife, June, and I are active members of Onslow County community. My special interests include economic development, enrichment programs for the youth of Onslow County, and one of the key things is working mostly with the people of Onslow County. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Colson?
Good afternoon, Onslow County. Let me extend my gratitude to the Chamber for hosting this candidate forum. It's crucial for our democratic engagement. I'm Cheryl Colson, deeply rooted in Onslow County, and I'm running for a seat on Onslow County Board of Commissioners. I raised my children in this community and have a vision of Onslow once again being a place where our children can come home and raise their own families and thrive in their careers. I have a profound dedication to the collective well-being of our community. As a criminal defense paralegal and a pre-law student at Liberty University and a community advocate, I've honed my skills in justice and fairness, ensuring that constitutional rights are always front and center. This background, coupled with my stance as a constitutional Republican, shapes my approach for governance, focused on problem-solving, detailed investigation. I'm ready to bring this dedication and perspective to the board, working tirelessly for the prosperity and fairness of Onslow County. I'm Cheryl Colson. I'm last on the ballot, but I will be first in the fight.
Mr. Davis?
All right, well, hey, folks, thank you for having me today. Chamber and Jones Onslow, thank you for doing this for us. And I am the mayor of Swansboro. My name is John Davis, and I'm missing my gavel. I'm used to having that right here, so. But that was supposed to be funny. Thank you. So why am I running? Well, as I tell people, I have $11,000, 11,000 reasons, $11,000 to run for county commissioner. When we got all of our tax bills collected and my wife told me we were writing that check, that was pretty good incentive for me to say, I feel like we need to do something different. the assessments and those things that have happened. In Swansboro in particular, we've seen our prices on average, homeowner 27% increase in their taxes. So, and that's affecting everybody across Onslow County, whether you're in Sneads Ferry, Halls Run, it's affecting people. As you guys know, we have the insurance rate increase. I went up to Raleigh to speak against that as well, and that's things that we're putting too much financial pressure on our residents, and I want to help affect that. I believe we can do that with pro-economic growth, bringing industry and development here, and by doing so, we're able to take advantage of the taxes they provide and reduce the taxes that our average everyday citizen has to put forth. So with that, thank you, and look forward to speaking with you in a few minutes.
Mr. Knapp.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Robin Knapp. I'm currently the Vice Chairman on the Board of Commissioners. And I want to thank my wife and my mother-in-law, Betty Carter, who are here today to support me. And she's from Rockingham County, which is in Eden, North Carolina, if you know where that is. First off, for those that don't know me, I'm a former Air Force officer, got out after 4 years, worked counter intel in the United States Air Force, went into NCIS as a federal agent, did 25 years with them, specializing in anti-narcotics and smuggling operations and things of that sort, working violent crimes and sexual assault crimes. So I've been across the board in terms of that. I retired in 2012 from NCIS and decided to make Camp Lejeune home and Jacksonville my home. I have two beautiful daughter and son, two stepdaughters, and I have a step-grandson, and I'm sure he's watching now. My biggest thing from the very beginning is twofold or threefold if you look at it in the sense of I don't like taxes. And I have voted always to not raise taxes. There's other ways that we can raise revenue without raising taxes because there are people that live on annuities, that are people that are on fixed incomes and they cannot afford the tax raise. And it's my goal to continue to lower the tax rate for Onslow County, to always vote against any type of tax incentive to raise the taxes. And that is one of my biggest goals, and I've been true to that. My voting record has shown that for the past 8 years. Thank you.
Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon. I am so glad to be here and so glad to see people that care show up. And thank you for the chamber, and thank you for Jones Onslow, and thank you for the moderators, because it's so important to be respectful to the rules, and I'll plan to do that. I think you know me as the retired sheriff of Onslow County. I retired about a year ago and turned a good, clean agency sheriff's office over to my successor, who is doing a good job. But before that, I was a special agent with the state. Well, before that, I actually was a police chief at your airport, Albert J. Ellis Airport. Did that for 4 years, but I saw a need for change at the sheriff's office, and we were able to accomplish that. The door was always open to every citizen, Constitution, conservative. That is who I am. Before that, I was a special agent with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, investigating homicides and crimes against children. Folks, they're out there. We need to talk to our kids. We need to be in touch with our kids and keep them from that kind of stuff. I have 3 adult children. They're all successful, what I'm very proud of. And I have so many goals, but I want to increase the tax base by bringing more industry into Onslow County, because we need more jobs. And I'm running out of time, but I have so many more goals.
Ms. Morton.
Hi, my name is Deborah Morton. I'm from the Back Swamp community of Richlands in Onslow County. I do not have any political experience. I'm winging this. It's just in my heart. I took a biblical citizenship class earlier last year, and it just done something to my insides. You can't just be on the outside and talk about what's going on the insides. Maybe sometimes you need to put yourself in there and find out what's going on. And so that's why I'm here. I have 2 adult children that are mine, and I have a son that was given to me when he was 4 by God, and we raised him. He will be 22 next week. We live, my son and I, everybody lives in Onslow County except one. They just bought a house in Dupin County. And I have a grandson, and I've been married to my husband for 34 years. And my name is Deborah. Thank you.
Mr. Paget.
Yes, my name is Tony Paget. I want to thank you so much for inviting me here for this forum. It's so important for the folks to be able to make a good decision. I was born and raised here. I've seen a lot of things change in Onslow County over the years. We have a great opportunity. Onslow County is on the growth. It's going to continue to be on the growth. We got to make sure we manage that growth in a positive way that we all can afford to live here. I am a common sense type person. I'll tell you that right out of the gate. I have a lot of common sense. And, you know, we have a great opportunity to make Onslow County the greatest place, to me, is already the greatest place in the world to live because I was born and raised here. But I can tell you that I'm about growth for economic growth. We need good jobs here. We need to do what is necessary. I'm about transparency. We need to make sure that we're transparent to the citizens of Onslow County, that we let them know that we are not trying to pull any wool over anybody's eyes. And I want to unify. We need to unify our whole county board as well as all our boards in Onslow County, bring them together, and let's make a decision that's good for everybody. And I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Mr. Scott.
My name is Walter Scott. This is going to be my second tour of duty and responsibility. It's been a privilege to serve each and every one of our citizens. We have issues that we need to address. And as one, you know that I'm not scared to address the issues. I will ask the questions. I'll continue to ask the questions. But most of all, we got to join together. We got to make the right decisions. We are growing at a rapid pace. We must have a plan to make sure that we meet our goals. But without planning, we will never meet the goals. It's a knee-jerk reaction. I am proactive. I want to be out there and I want to meet the needs of our citizens. Taxation is one of them. We got a $41 million leakage that we're not trying to obtain. We need to put our hands around it, get that 41 million and keep it in Onslow County. Onslow County is losing that to other counties. We have a base out here that is essential to that. We need to work with partnership. We need to get all our boards, all our elected officials at the table to work together. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve.
Well, Elliot will now begin the questionings, and Mr. Scott, you're going to get the first one. First shot at it.
And some of you already mentioned this topic of growth, but I'm going to ask you a question and see what you're thinking about it. It's considered a positive sign for a county. It builds tax base and provides opportunities, but it can also cause problems for communities and neighborhoods that are unprepared. What are some of the issues related to growth in Onslow County that give you cause for concern, and what would you do about them?
Well, now I made my opening statement. We have areas in Onslow County that we are not meeting the growth of that county. We are building, and don't have anything in place, a plan in place to ease the traffic flows, to ease the housing growth. We don't have the infrastructure in place. What needs to be addressed. We have got to work together in the future to make sure that all our municipalities and all our the surrounding communities have an economic development plan for that unique area. Sewer is one of them. We need to have sewer throughout the county. We need to have internet throughout the county. All that is a major factor in what we do for the growth of the future of Onslow County.
Mr. Paget.
Yes. Growth is very important in Onslow County. You can't stop growth in Onslow County, but we can be smart about our growth in Onslow County. I feel like if we come together and get our planning board on board, as well as with our commissioners, and keep people involved, that we can do smart growth here. And yes, it's like the chicken and the egg. Do you build the sewer lines first? Do you build the water lines first? Don't matter, the schools first. But growth is something that's got to be managed. It's something that we can do together. We got to look at what effect it does on neighbors. We got to look at the effect it does on our natural resources and our environment and our farming communities. I mean, there's a lot to growth, but I pledge to work hard to make sure everybody's informed, that we get the word out in time, that everybody in the community understands what's fixing to happen for Onslow County.
Thank you. Ms. Morton?
I too agree with that. Who wouldn't want to come to Onslow County? We've got the beaches here, Mike's Farm. I live out by the airport, and I know that they're extending the airport runway, so we're fixing to get a different route on our road on 111. So I think when you have growth, you got to have you got to be informed with the DMV, talk with them and the state, just see how you're going to maintain those roads.
All right. Mr. Miller?
Yes, growth is good. It's good for the tax base, but it needs to be properly managed. Not every part of the county should have growth, because some parts of the county, parts of Sneads Ferry, for instance, should not grow because people are in good neighborhoods and, but there are other parts of the county as well. But properly managed growth, streets, roads, schools, crime, medical facilities, water, electricity, EMS response, all those things are important. And as we properly manage the growth, the county will be better off.
Thank you. Mr. Knapp?
As far as growth is concerned, the first thing you have to have in place for growth is an infrastructure. You have to have an infrastructure that anticipates the growth. And by that, it ties in with you have to have a very healthy fund balance in your account as a county to make sure that you can accommodate that growth. And when I'm talking about fund balance, I'm talking about for capital improvements, I'm talking for projects, disaster relief, et cetera. But it goes back to what I said at the very beginning. You have to reduce the tax rate. You have to reduce the tax rate for businesses to come here and want to settle in Onslow County. You got to give them an incentive. If we have a high tax rate, they're not going to want to come here. If we can lower the tax rate, on top of contributing to their sense of pleasure, i.e. the beaches and stuff like that, and how close you are, and the cost of living, that'll attract businesses and private companies to come here. We have to give them incentives, and we have to make sure that our citizens don't suffer with increasing taxes. We have to lower it. And finally, we got to make sure that we stay in communication always, and I think our county office is doing a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah, so I'd like to offer up to you guys, the public, that if you were so choose to have me to serve on the commission for the county, that we would have a comprehensive infrastructure plan. To my knowledge, I certainly haven't been able to find that we have anything like that. And we need to bring the municipalities together. We need to bring DOT. We need to bring our school system involved so that we can have some long-range planning that goes from one end of the county to the other end of the county, and that addresses our roads, our schools, our homes. We have a housing shortage. I believe we have a school shortage. Or if we didn't have a school shortage, I wouldn't have 20 trailers outside of the schools in Swansboro. So that tells me that we need more schools. We need more infrastructure. And we need planning. We need to look long range so that we can have this infrastructure plan in place and work towards it.
Ms. Colson?
Onslow County is experiencing a notable surge in population, and it's attributed to factors like economic opportunities, military presence, and even just the natural beauty of it. This growth, while beneficial in aspects, brings forth challenges that do need addressing to ensure sustainable development and maintain the county's quality of life. Understanding these effects are crucial for planning and implementing strategies that will positively influence the county's future. To manage Onslow County's population growth, we must focus on enhancing infrastructure, promoting sustainable development, and expanding community services. Upgrading roads, utilities, and public services will alleviate the strain caused by the influx of residents. Additionally, improving healthcare, education, and community facilities will ensure the well-being of the growing population. Proactive measures are crucial for balancing development and quality of life in Onslow.
Thank you. Mr. Buchanan?
The key to this is planning and zoning, and we have a comprehensive plan. It's a very good comprehensive plan. One of the things we're working with now is with Sneads Ferry. Sneads Ferry's plan is not integrated with our comprehensive plan, and we're working very hard on that. The infrastructure that we have has got to be worked on. If you're looking at now, Holly Ridge growth down there is on fire. I mean, it's moving a lot with all the construction, but they're close to what? The infrastructure, I-40, and the new bypass that's going to be at Hampstead. The other thing with the growth we have here is students. Almost 325 students a year come here. That's half a school. Schools were $24 million in the past. They're $42 million today. We're building a new one over there at Tabernacle. That school is going to be very interesting for us because it's another elementary school. So if we get another 325 children this year, that's another half a school. So where are we going to put that school at? Because right now we have 30-some schools. And since I've been a commissioner, we've had, I think there's 7 brand-new schools since 2004. So the infrastructure is very important. We're already working on planning and zoning. We have all that things in place. The county's in good shape.
Thank you. Mr. Boone.
Wow, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but the growth here in Onslow County since I got here in the late 60s, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's unbelievable, actually. But I think you're going to have to, you need to look at where the money comes from, where it's coming in, and look at all of it from the terms of how's it going to best suit all the residents of the county. Where can we build better? Where can we cut, taxes? They're outrageous for everybody. It's going to be a learning curve, isn't it?
Well, thank you. The next question, Mr. Miller, you'll be asked first, and you'll go down to the right, and then we're going to go with Mr. Boone and come back in to meet you at the end.
Here's the question. Problems such as violent crime, drug abuse, scarcity of mental health services, and child abuse are overwhelmingly complex, and they extend beyond the realm of law enforcement into many aspects of our public and private lives. What leadership will you provide as a commissioner to address these concerns that impact our safety?
Absolutely. I really believe in collaboration and cooperation. We have social services, we have health departments, we have the police departments of the municipalities, we have state agencies, we have federal agencies. A lot of the stuff that comes in because of our open border. We have to secure that border, but also locally, we have a cultural problem. We need more adult people to set the example for our young people and let them know that I want you home by a certain hour. I don't want you running the streets, and that will be step number one. There's so many things that we can do as a board of commissioners with the county specialists, social workers. We need to attract more social workers. And with the school system, teachers have supervision of kids more than anybody else. They get them for pretty much all day. So work in cooperation and collaboration and find out what the problems are and fix it.
Thank you. Ms. Morton?
I agree with that. We have to work with our sheriff and our social workers and some mental health workers to get the answer to that, to get it all worked together. And as your board member, commissioner, I would work with them very well.
All right. Mr. Paget?
Yes, it is a problem, and it's a growing problem. I think we have to be sure that we put the right people in the right places, just like our social service department, our sheriff department. Make sure we got people in the mental health side that we can put them in the right place, make sure they're qualified so we can have a place to help these folks. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get worse because we're growing all the time. As a commissioner before, I've been a commissioner before from 92 to 2000. The issue was somewhat then, not to the magnitude it is now, but you got to make sure you have good people in good places and that are qualified people. And we got to have our healthcare system in a way that we can provide for those folks. And we can do it, and it starts at home. That's no joke. But we can't expect our school system to do it. We can't expect someone else to do it all the time. We have to start at home, and home values mean a lot.
Mr. Scott?
Okay, it's unfortunately, but our detention centers today are our mental health facilities. The sheriff has been given, has been tasked, and the mental health system is broke across the state of North Carolina. We're doing everything that we can. Our health department, our peers program, the support that we have throughout the county for the mental illness. We're averaging 85 overdoses a month in Onslow County. That's truly a shame. We have got to work together to better provide the assistance. It's going to cost money to do that, but we got to have planning in place to do that. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, the health department, the sheriff's office, the peers program, the Dix Crisis Center, they're all working overtime to make sure that the citizens of Onslow County is taken care of.
Mr. Boone.
Let me repeat the question for you. And what leadership will you as a commissioner provide to address the concerns that are impacting our safety?
You're seeing all across the nation and the world, the sex trafficking, the drugs, and you have to come in and fight hard. You need convictions, and you need to take these people off the street. And it's not going to be easy, but it's got to be an effort that is focused on and tearing down all these evil things, from sex slavery, sex trafficking. It's a huge problem, and it needs to be a top priority.
All right, Mr. Buchanan.
Well, it's very fortunate for me that I run the director of training and law enforcement at the college, and the sheriff and the chief of police, Chief Yanero, Chris Thomas, work very closely with the college and very closely with me. And the key to this is a lot of different things out there. We offer CIT training. We operate with everything that's a threat assessment. We deal with that quite a bit. DWI task force, SROs, we train SROs. We do quite a bit of stuff. Our sheriff, Chris Thomas, and our chief, Mike Yanero, do the best at everything that's ever been done in Onslow County by these two individuals. They do the best they can, and they run their training through the college. We work together as a collaborate. The biggest thing we got right now is the opioid problems, fentanyl. It's all over the place. But the key thing is, I don't know if you kept up with the newspaper in the last 3 or 4 days, we have a human trafficking unit. That human trafficking unit, you won't believe this, but the human trafficking in Onslow County is there, very large, and our people are working on it. Our individual agencies work very hard.
Ms. Colson?
It's interesting, actually, because I think this is one of the key issues that Onslow County is facing. Right now, we need to adopt a comprehensive approach to community safety and welfare, understanding that our challenges are not isolated but completely interconnected. Our sheriff's office is at the forefront of this battle. We need to bolster our sheriff's office with necessary funding for improved facilities and better incentives for staff support and retention, ensuring a robust frontline defense for our community. Safety isn't just about law enforcement, though. The rising tide of mental health and substance abuse issues, often intertwined with gang violence, which I see every day with what I do, puts an unstable strain on our jail systems. We need larger specialized facilities and additional trained mental health providers focused on rehabilitation and care, allowing our jails to concentrate on violent crimes and making the community healthier and more secure. Supporting our emergency medical services is also part of this. It's crucial, in fact, focusing on retention and recruitment and offering competitive incentives. We ensure a responsive and effective emergency service.
And we didn't get the buzzer on that, but please try to watch the time there, if you would, please. Mr. Davis.
Thank you. So I think the question mentioned leadership, and that's this mental health, I'd almost call it a phenomenon. It's so pervasive in our community. It's something that I've been involved in for several years now. And it was almost by accident that I got involved in it. But if you've heard of Hope is Alive, which is a recovery program, that's kind of where I got my start in working with them. And there's some folks sitting here in the audiences that have helped me with that. And part of that leadership is creating partnerships. And we were able to bring people together and raise over $1 million for HIA a couple years ago, right pre-COVID. We now have a women's home here. And I believe that the human trafficking, kind of switching gears, is also an issue, and we need to work with Tracy Klein over at True Justice. I think what she does is imperative. We also have Philippians Place, who's helping our homeless in that situation as well, which drugs and addictive behaviors involved in that, so we need to support them as well.
Mr. Knapp.
Mental health is not a phenomenon. Mental health is the #1 problem in the United States, along with fentanyl and substance abuse. Being a former cop working narcotics, I've seen it for many, many years. And that is one of the reasons why I got into politics, because my biggest push back in 2016 was to get the Dix Crisis Center up and going, to provide some type of mental health treatment and substance abuse program for people here. I've arrested people, but I've also seen the other side and what damage it can do mentally to people. But as a commissioner, I led that charge for the Dix Crisis Center, and we're still continuing to move forward, and it's been successful. But the thing that we have to look at, and I agree with one of the candidates up here, we have to ensure that we have proper funding, not only for law enforcement, but for DSS workers, case workers, mental health specialists across the board. It has to be a collaborative effort to fully combat this particular disease or the #1 problem. You know, we're only going to make a small dent, but whatever dent we can make, we need to make it. And I think that we should strive in that direction. Thank you.
Mr. Knapp, you'll begin the question and answers this time, and then we'll work back this way.
That's not fair.
Well, you were last this time, so we're making you first now.
I'm right in front of you. I mean,
And to make matters worse, some people have already tried to, or scratched the surface of this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. As the financial pressures on county government continue to grow, what partnerships, for example, with municipal governments, military bases, nonprofit organizations, and other private entities, do the county commissioners need to consider and possibly implement to help find and pay for solutions?
can you repeat the first part of that question? 'Cause I didn't
Well, I'm
really-
just asking about the financial pressures that you face and how partnerships with other entities could possibly help address those issues.
I think the partnerships with private entities and other agencies is a must. We have to, because we can't afford it ourselves. If you look at our budget, we can't put out the money and afford any type of programs. We need to work together with the base officials. We need to work with the private sector. We need to work with the health professionals and law enforcement, especially our DSS services. We have to work together. For example, with the Dix Crisis Center, it's a collaborative. Craven County, Onslow County, and Carteret County working together. And that's the kind of partnerships that we need to develop, because we don't have the money completely to finance all the things that we need to do. And it's imperative that we share ideas, we share objectives, we share thoughts, and we share goals as how we can combat this together. Because anybody who takes on a financial burden by themselves is going to lose. Nobody can afford that. But if you can draw resources from other agencies and other companies that are willing to join the same common goal and purpose, then you have a shot at success. And I think those are some very important key elements that we need to be conscious of.
All right, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, so I think partnerships are important, and particularly with our municipalities. Being the mayor of Swansboro, it's one of the things that I asked when Jack Wright was chair. I've also reached out to the current chair, Mr. Tim, so that we can have the municipalities and the county government working together. And I think that's critical. And one of those examples is in our emergency services, where right now we struggle. And I've heard the stories on both ends of the county, not only my end of the county, but also on the other end of the county, where our response times are slow. And this is where we need to partner with our volunteer firefighters and maybe even consider bringing back our volunteer rescue squads and working with people to help us be successful. And that's just one example of where we're struggling in the county that partnerships would help solve. And we can certainly work with private industry and private businesses, because private industries and businesses want to see our emergency services be successful, and they're going to step up to the plate.
Ms. Coulson.
Funny enough, this is actually something that I have been screaming about for years. The county does need to partner with all municipalities. Currently, we have the multi-sports complex going in Jacksonville. The city is paying for it, but the county could contribute, make it a whole, add funds, the more that's contributed, the more that's available to our county as a whole. Counties and municipalities working together unlock significant economic advantages. By sharing services like emergency response and public works, they achieve substantial cost savings and operational efficiencies. Joint economic development initiatives attract larger investments, enhancing regional growth all around. Collaborations also open doors to better funding opportunities and strengthen bargaining power, leading to further cost reductions. Ultimately, these partnerships are pivotal in driving substantial economic growth and improving community services.
Thank you. Mr.
There's
Buchanan.
quite a bit of partnerships in Onslow County right now. I mean, we have the Museum of the Marine, we work very closely with the county does, and the city of Jacksonville. We have the Camp Johnson Memorial. We have the Vietnam Memorial. All this money was financed by the commissioners and by the city of Jacksonville that dealt with all these areas, pretty much did a lot with this. You have a lot of other partnerships with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club. There's a lot of different things that are going on that we deal with constantly with these partnerships. And they're great partnerships. Economic development's a partnership with the county. There's quite a few of them that work with us very closely, and that's what gets everything done. The other thing is the volunteers. Without the volunteers from all these nonprofits, we couldn't do what we do in Onslow County.
Mr. Boone.
Well, here I am out of my depth again, but anytime you're dealing with taxes, money, business is great, but you need to look at where the money comes from, where it's being spent, and how it's being utilized for the people of the county. I worked for Forbes magazine for close to 20 years, went through the economic crises of the mid-2000s, and we had to look at everything, where the money, what money we were spending and where we could make cuts, where we could keep doing the job and make sure the dollars were being spent right. So this is a big learning curve. These guys have been dealing with it for years, but you just have to follow the money.
Mr. Scott.
Okay, again, in order for us to be successful or even get close to being successful, we got to be willing to sit at the table. We have got to address the issues, we got to prioritize the issues, and we got to make sure that we have private partnership in everything that we do to make sure it's a success. We do work with a lot of organizations. We have addressed a lot of the issues, but we can do a better job so that everybody gets a chance to have input and make sure that we do it for the citizens of Onslow County and the citizens' needs. We are doing, now some of it, extremely well, but we can always do better.
Mr. Patchett.
Yes, partnerships are very important. Matter of fact, we're sitting in a partnership right now. Jones Onslow helped partner with the chamber to make this event possible, as well as others. I know when I was a commissioner before, Jones Onslow and Duke Energy helped a lot of partnerships in making things better for Onslow County and its citizens. And we do have to make things better, but you have to work at a plan. You have to have a plan. You have to have people who are willing to pursue those plans and make it work. And you have to do that in unity. You can't do it split. You can't do a board that's split and wanting to try to make things work in partnerships. You got to be together. And we can make that work if we work together. And I'm willing to do that on everything that we do. Thank you.
Ms. Morton.
I'm a good team player, and I believe that we do need good partners. And I think we do have, the county does partner good with the different areas. That's about all I can think on that, but I think we do. We have a lot of businesses that contribute. Now, I do see the same names all the time. It would probably be nice if there was other people that would contribute, but yeah, I think we do have good partnerships.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, as history shows, I believe in partnerships. For instance, if the Jacksonville Police Department has an asset that we don't have at the county level, how about we share the assets? If we have an asset that they don't have, we share it. We have joint investigations. Why duplicate things among different governments? The smaller municipalities may not have the CSI, crime scene investigation units. The county will step up and will provide that service to them and everything. So it's so important for being a partner of everything and sharing resources with municipalities, all of them. Impact aid for military students. We have to work with the Congress, our representatives, our senator, to increase the impact date. We have a lot of military students, and of course, I'm military retiree as well, but they go through our county schools, and they need to be financially supported by the federal government.
All right. The next question, Mr. Buchanan, you'll have it first, and we'll go down the table and come back through Mr. Boone.
Here's the question. It's basically about military and civilian relations. But I'd like to know, what are the kinds of conversations you think local officials, such as county commissioners, should be having with our military leaders to improve conditions for both the bases and military-connected residents and everyone who resides and lives and works here in Onslow County?
That's a good question. And the partnership that we have with them is very well and works very well together with the base on. We meet with them quite often, so does the manager. But the key thing there is that we need to get more. We talked to Dr. Murphy on a couple of occasions. Right now, I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but a dependent that goes to our school only pays the taxpayers pay $500 for that student to be in school. The rest of the students that we have in our school, we pay close to $2,500 apiece. So if you have 4 people in the house, that's quite a bit of money that comes out of that. They're not paying that amount of taxes. So the working relationship there, we're trying to work with the base on that issue, and they are working with us. But Dr. Murphy has been trying to work with that for us, and it hasn't come to fruition yet. But for all the time that I've been a commissioner since 2004, that $500 is all that a dependent pays to be in our schools. We, the taxpayers, pay $2,500 per student. And right now, the key thing is working together with the base. You know, the base doesn't have to pay any taxes on their cars if they live on the base. So we lose that tax base. There's a lot of different things that go on with that, but we work very close with them. We tried to do a couple other things with them and work very well with them. And one of the issues I'll tell you about that we can't get them to do with us is 172. We try to get them to let us use 172, but they said, and we even offered to do everything we could do for them. Thank you.
Ms. Coles.
The military and the county actually need to work completely together. It's a unique community where the military plays a large role. So if we're working collaboratively with the military authorities, we're able to have more balance with taxes, balance with the school systems. There are several federal grants available currently at all times for communities that have large military bases. We need to make sure that we're pursuing those grants. It adds income. You know, if it's nothing but the sales tax, most military choose to retire here and make this their home. They're buying real estate. So ultimately, it's imperative that we all work together.
So we've got to be, especially our veterans advocates. We do not have a VA hospital here. I know that Dr. Murphy is working on that for us, but we've got to give him help. We've got to lobby our representatives, our senators, and we really need to pursue that. We do not have a nursing home in the area within 2 hours here for our veterans. And that's another place that we need to work. I've been very successful at working with the base. They've helped me put on Memorial Day as well as Veteran Days programs. They do some of their radio testing in Swansboro, and they've been very generous in working with us and very positive relationships. And so we need to continue that with the base. We have the Onwassa sewer issue that we need to continue to negotiate with the base and work with our senators again and our representatives to make sure that we have that expansion capacity as we need it. So the base is very critical, and again, having those partnerships with the municipalities, the base, and the county. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Knapp?
You know, being a veteran myself and a dependent, I view the relationship with base authorities as a top priority. But one thing you have to keep in mind, we're talking about two different entities. We're talking about the civilian population, and we're talking about Camp Lejeune, which is exclusive federal jurisdiction. So right then and there's a big difference between the base and the civilian population. They speak one language, we speak another. And we have to come together and kind of meet in a crossroads to have a commonality. Fortunately, some of us are veterans, so we can speak that lingo, and we understand that. And just a correction, you know, if you're a veteran, and I agree with all the privileges that veterans get, I'm a veteran. If you're a veteran, you buy a vehicle in this county, not because you live on base, but if you're a veteran, you're here on active duty, you get your vehicle tax waived, okay? So we have to work on some certain way to kind of coordinate with the base, and we have to stay in touch with them, Because in a time of disaster, the base is going to come to our aid and vice versa, and they have in the past. And joint operations, joint meetings, and liaison functions are a must to make sure our relationships are successful.
And I'll repeat the question. What are the kinds of conversations that you think local officials, such as the county commissioners, should be having with our military leaders? I didn't say this earlier, but I'll throw in Congress to improve conditions for local bases and military-connected residents and everyone who resides and works in Onslow County.
Absolutely. This is something that's really needed, and we're already doing some of it. But I think, you know, I have a foot on every door. I spend a lot of time on base, but I also spend a lot of time off base. I live off base as a retiree and as a retired sheriff. But I think impact aid needs to be revisited with Congress for our school system. The Military Affairs Committee that our chamber puts on is a good way to get that liaison between the civilian and the military community, because you start friendship, you start partnerships, you start to trust each other, and trust is everything. You got to be able to trust each other. So we participate in that, even as a retiree I do. I am now currently a member of the Patient and Family Partnership Council at the Naval Medical Center. And I live off base. The hospital is on base, or the medical center is on base.
Okay, time.
They're good.
Ms. Morton?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's very important that we do communicate very well with the base and with Congress and our leaders, Murphy, and they need to have we're all in this together.
All right, thank you. Mr. Paget?
Yes, partnerships is very important. I can tell you in 1994, Stump Sound Park, as you see, was done with a partnership with Camp Lejeune. And that was because we worked very hard. I worked very hard to make that happen. And we can do other things, and not only Camp Lejeune. You got to make sure our local legislation, I'm talking about in Raleigh, and let them do their part to carry it forward. But we have got to work together, and we have got to be collaborative together so we can make things better for Onslow County, and it takes all of us, not just one. It takes all of us together. All municipalities got to be on board, and we can do this, but it's got to be done so we can come together and make it happen. Camp Lejeune's a great resource for Onslow County, but they sit in Onslow County, and they're part of our team. And we need to make sure we continue to make sure they understand that, and we all live together. Thank you.
Okay, the relationship and stuff that we have with the base and the commanding generals is essential. So what I would like to see more of is the collaboration between our private businesses, because there's a unique need for our lower enlisted to have activities and stuff that we keep them here in Onslow County. There's a wide variety of unmarried personnel that's on the base, and on the weekends and the evening times, they're going to New Hanover County, Brunswick, Craven County for Pacific activities that they offer that we don't offer here. The only way that we're going to be able to get those enlisted personnel here in the county is for the county and the cities and the municipalities to get together and have where the general comes out and the sergeant major comes out, and we entertain him of what we can provide for those men and women in uniform.
Thank you. Mr. Booth?
Camp Lejeune's an integral part of Onslow County, and our veterans have not been treated the best over the years. Anything we can do to improve the relationship, I think we definitely need a VA hospital here. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Scott, you'll have the next question first.
Okay, this is a question, I've scribbled a bunch of notes in here, so I hope I get it right. What are your thoughts about the state of public engagement between the Onslow County Commissioners and the citizens of the county? Are the current efforts to disseminate information such as posting agendas in advance and providing other forms of transparency enough to keep local residents connected to their leadership in a meaningful way?
we as a board and as the administration has got to do a better job of communicating what's coming up on the board. I've advocated for a phone number that the citizens can call. I've advocated for a digital format to be placed on the websites to address the issues that they have to the boards. And we're still working to get that accomplished. We've got to do a better job of letting the people know what is coming up on the board meetings. We've got to do a better job of returning and answer their questions. Most of them are. There's a lot of information that's getting out that's not actually the way things are. And the facts are the facts. And as a commissioner, I've been 65,000 miles in this county in the last 3 years. Time run out, I'm sorry.
All right. Ms. Colson, I did not notice that you had flung the card there, so we'll come to you right after the end of this. Is that all right then? So please forgive me. My peripheral vision's not as good as it probably should be then for that. Mr. Patch.
Yes. As far as we have got to do a better job of getting things out to the public to be transparent. The agenda should be posted, in my opinion, when the agenda is approved by the chairman, that it should be posted on the website so people know what's coming up and what they can do. And we can do that together. It's just a lot of things in today's world of technology, there's no reason we can't make things better for everybody, every citizen here to be able to look at something and decide if that's something they want to come to a meeting on or if something they want to talk to a commissioner about. And there's no reason that can't be done.
Thank you. Ms. Morton.
Can you read the question one more time?
Sure. What are your thoughts about the state of public engagement between the Onslow County Commissioners and the citizens of the county? Are current efforts to disseminate information and provide transparency enough to keep local residents connected to their leadership in a meaningful way?
I think we could do a better job than what we are doing to keep the public informed. I would welcome town halls if on certain issues in certain communities. If it's something involving the folks at Sneeze Ferry, have a town hall. If it's something Richlands, do the same thing. You got social media, you got billboards out there. There's no way that people shouldn't know what's going on. We should be transparent.
Mr. Miller.
Yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach. As sheriff, I had town hall meetings all over the county. Every part of the county was equally represented. Now, I had executive authority, but I can't do that. As a board, I'm one of 7. So what I would encourage that any citizens group in any part of the county would want to form a town hall meeting and invite, and I will be there. But also another thing, we can do social media. We did that before. We can do maybe a link, but also make our county website a little bit easier to navigate because it takes a long time to get to the county commissioners and to the meeting. How about we have a special website that says county commissioner and then meetings, videos, and agendas. Have it right there for the people to see, and then also work with the electronic media, with the television media, with the radio media. Get the word out to the people, because the people, that's where the power comes from.
Thank you. Mr. Knapp.
I disagree with my counterpart on the end about transparency. We don't have a problem with transparency in Onslow County. We don't. We have really made strides and efforts to make our government transparent, from the sunshine list that anybody can request that posts our agenda a week out in advance, from our Facebook page, et cetera. As a person, as a commissioner during the COVID period, I put out weekly reports. Some people ridiculed them, some people didn't, but I had more people like that because I was putting out facts provided to me by our health department in regards to how many infections and stuff like that. And I don't know how many times people have appreciated that. So when we talk about transparency, it also starts with the county commissioners. County commissioners, you have a web page, you use it, and put out the information, whether street closings during hurricanes, weather. That's our job. We serve the public, and we need to put that information out there. And if you go on our website, and they're still continuing to make progress now and to strive for better perfection in terms of transparency, and you're going to see it coming. And that's our whole goal, is to maintain pure 100% transparency on everything.
Yeah, so, met with a 95-year-old lady in Sneed's Ferry. I believe her name is Ella, and, they were sharing with me that there is a lack of information. And how do we get information out to Sneed's Ferry? How do we get information out to Halls Run? How do we get information out to Swansboro? We are so addicted to using modern technology to get information out that we have forgotten to use good old snail mail. We have forgotten to use news bulletins and ways to communicate. We have a large population of Onslow County that maybe has email, but certainly could care less about Facebook, Twitter, or other things like that. So we need to, as we're working on in Swansboro, is we have to think about communication in a whole different strategy, because we're leaving out a segment of our audience, and that's what it's about, right? It's about you, the whole audience, getting the information.
And I'll repeat the question. What are your thoughts about the state of public engagement between the commissioners, Onslow County commissioners, and the citizens of the county? Are current efforts to disseminate information, such as posting of agendas and other forms of providing transparency, are they enough? Or have they been enough to keep local residents connected to their leadership in a meaningful way?
When it comes to transparency, there's always more that can be done. However, when it comes to this board, I really don't think we have a real transparency issue. We have the sunshine list. We have live stream meetings on G10. I personally have put in several FOIA requests that were promptly answered. I have not yet met with the new county manager, but I do know that the former county manager, as well as our county attorney, have always stayed in communication with me when I have a question. In addition to that, I don't know one commissioner that won't provide his personal phone number, his or her personal phone number, where you can call them. Public can always attend the meetings, online or in person. So as far as transparency, I just don't see a problem here. Again, there's always more that can be done, but I don't see this issue.
Mr. Buchanan.
The key thing is when Sharon Griffin was our county manager, she worked hard on this transparency thing, and so did the commissioners. We receive our agenda item on Wednesday, and our meetings are normally on Monday, the first and third Mondays of the month. And that goes automatically out to the sunshine list. So anybody that wants to see that, or they can get on the sunshine list to find out what's going on. G10's been already mentioned. We have our own commissioner's website. There's a lot of information there. It's gotten a lot larger, and it's gotten a lot more information to the public. So there's a lot of different avenues that we're using right now, but we can thank Sharon Griffin for that, because that's where it all came about, back when she became our manager. There's a lot more stuff that we're doing now with the new manager. He's working very closely with the community. We are very transparent on what we do.
All right. Mr. Boone.
I've watched a lot of citizens get up and speak before boards, more so not this board. I haven't spent as much time listening to this, but I have yet to have any of these issues that the citizens brought forth. I've yet to hear anybody respond to those issues. I haven't been able to find them written out. I haven't seen any transparency in that. People heartfelt standing before, well, the Board of Education is where the most of the activity's been. Never heard them one time answer any one of those people in any meaningful way.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and let you answer the flag call here. Then I'll get Mr. Knapp and then Ms. Colson, since you had asked one previously there. So we have the rebuttal card for this time now.
We get a lot of emails from the public, and as soon as we get an email, we either forward it back to them, or if it's something that needs to be for the sheriff, or it has to be for the management staff, that's where we send it to. So we do answer the public, but they send us emails all the time. If I get a phone call, I answer that. If it's something I can't handle, we pass it on to the staff.
Mr. Knapp.
You know, we answer people, you know. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we get busy, we forget something, or we don't recognize the phone number, whatever. But when you send an email, especially me, when you send me a Facebook Messenger, in fact, I've got several this week. I've answered them. I had an issue with animal control problem out in Hubert that a person texted me. I passed that over to David Smitherman, and they passed it on to animal control, and guess what? They took care of the problem. Problem solved. So we do answer as many emails, as many text messages or Facebook Messenger requests all the time. And if, like on rezoning issues, for example, I had several people from Sneed's Ferry send me an email, and I answered them. And I told them, thank you for the information. We'll be talking about that at the meeting, and which we did. If we miss something, we're human. Forgive us, okay? But we try, at least I try, and I know the other commissioners try very hard to answer everything or any type of communication to them.
All right, Ms. Colson, again, we apologize for not having caught you out of my eye.
And what was the question that you were responding to?
It was what kind of conversation we should have between the military officials
Okay,
and the county.
yep.
So it's my understanding that right now the VA is currently sending doctors to tend to to immigrants. Many vets are being told that they're going to have to wait up to a year to be assigned new VA doctors. And so they're being assigned to civilian doctors in Onslow that are already overwhelmed in the local medical system. So what we need to do is work with the base jointly to see what incentives we can offer to specialists and providers to bring more into Onslow. So the system's already hard pressed. We need to have more coming in.
All right. And for this next question, Ms. Morton, you'll be the first to go on this question there. We'll go down here, and then we'll start the other way.
This is another one I'm reading off of scribbled notes, but maybe I can do it. Glenn and I were talking at lunch about some statistics that were recently released, and one of those statistics I pointed out that between the years in a 5-year period, 2019 and 24, there was an overall 51% increase in fair market rent in Onslow County. Last year, just in 1 year, there was a 34% increase in fair market rent in Onslow County. And I just want to use that as a lead-off to my overall question, which is what is your assessment of the housing situation here, including situations facing both people who own homes and those who are looking to purchase and or otherwise find affordable rental housing?
Well, I don't know anything really, I can be honest, I don't really know anything about renting. I've never rented. But I do know, as far as like the taxes, that the commissioner of this board said, oh, we didn't raise your taxes. But when they raised the percentage of what your house is worth, common sense, that did raise the taxes. And that was a burden on the taxpayers. They don't get more money. I have a lot of friends. My mother is by herself. You get one income and you get this bigger increase in your taxes, that can be a burden on the taxpayer.
All right, we'll
Come back, yeah.
we'll call back to you at the end of the run there. Go ahead.
Go in this direction.
Yes,
All right,
sorry, Mr. Paget.
okay. There is a issue in affordable housing because people base their rent based on what the base they can get from the bases that they set the rent price by. And that leaves a gap in there. And we have people who can't afford. So what we've got to do is come together, and we've got a shortage in housing here. There's over 3,000 shortage in housing. We've got to come together and pledge to help work something that will make things better, that we can work on some affordable housing, maybe some grants that we can go through and apply for, that we can do. And also, it's putting a burden on our homeless shelter. They're maxed out and got a waiting list. We are going to have to address issue, and it's going to come very soon. So there's things that we going to have to think about and see if we can make things better.
Mr. Scott.
That truly is one of my priorities and should be a priority of every municipality in Onslow County because it does stem from the housing allowance from what is authorized to be paid. Unfortunately, that hasn't been discussed openly. We are at a deficit in the houses that we need, but we don't have any affordable housing per se in the county much. It's got to be addressed. We've got to be able to get some partnerships with that, and it should be a priority to do that. Private partnership in that area is essential. Thank you.
Good. Mr. Boone?
Well, another tough one for me. I like what Walter had to say. The cost of everything has gone to the point to where most average Americans are just being priced right out of it. From a bag of groceries to your house to being able to rent, people are struggling. And I don't have any idea what the solution is, but it would be interesting to start having these conversations and working on the different problems to see if we can figure out how to turn this back the other way.
Mr. Buchanan?
Thank you. Affordable housing has been an issue with the city and the county for some time. We had some ARCA money. We had $5 million set aside to do this for the individuals that could not afford this affordable housing. And what happened there was the construction people that came in and met with us and the other commissioners, it turned out that they couldn't afford to do it for the price of everything, like the gentleman just said. The construction prices have gone sky high. So we were not able to do that, so we had to set that $5 million someplace else to work with. But there's a lot of houses being built in Richlands, Sneed's Ferry. Mr. Howard came in front of us the other day, and we approved him for highway business up on Gum Branch. He claims that in the stateside area, there'll be 2,000 houses within the next 5 years. So he's building some strip malls out there to help, so that people don't have to go to Jacksonville, or they don't have to go to Richlands. There'll be someplace on Gum Branch Road to take care of that. But there's a lot of houses being built. We've approved quite a few.
Ms. Colson?
I don't think the issue is housing. I think the issues that we need to focus on is the poverty rate. One directly affects the other. Onslow County, I believe, is the 13th largest populated county in North Carolina. However, I lost count trying to find where we stand on that poverty level. We already have too many subdivisions. I don't know how many people in this room lived here during Desert Storm, but it was a ghost town. I keep hearing about a shortage in housing. We don't have a shortage. It's my understanding that the housing market is set to crash. And then we have a bunch of empty houses again. God forbid we have a war. Then we really have a bunch of empty houses. And then we're not doing anything. You know, the cost of a home, taxes, homeowners insurance, it's a trickle-down effect. Renters are always going to pay more as these increase. So there's just really, there's no.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, so was at the JOED meeting the other day, and it was certainly proposed that we do have a housing shortage. Also, I've been involved with some of the studies, and we've got at minimum, depending on where you are on the county, a 20% poverty rate. So you add a 20% poverty rate, and then you put the taxes on top of that, and now we've got the Commissioner of Insurance looking at increasing our insurance rates. Then you come back to the county assessments. Now, we all want our property values to go up when we're selling, but we don't want them to go up when it's time to pay taxes, right? And so, but you do have this compounding problem of the tax pressures and the government expense pressures that are happening on the average everyday citizen. And then what happens is that is pushed to your renters. And what's happening now is we are actually losing employees to other places in the state and the town because there are no other places in the state and the country because there's no place to rent. There's no place to have jobs.
Right.
So that comes back to my comprehensive infrastructure plan that we need to
Time's
have.
up. Mr. Knapp, I made an error when I responded to you on the deal. You know, you only get one rebuttal card, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that. So you can either kind of wrap your answer into this one, or you can do it during your summation that you'll have at the end. So
I'll just
it's
pass
your-
it over here, I don't want it.
So I get two.
So I apologize for that. Being a traffic cop for this is
First of all, let me just say,
full-time
you know,
job.
we got this housing problem. The first thing we gotta do is we gotta change our government nationally, period.
Yeah. Did you, I don't think you have another.
No,
I'm answering
he's
the question.
answering the question on housing.
Oh, okay. You have not answered that question.
Okay, can I
I'm
start
sorry.
over now?
I'm sorry, Mr. Knapp.
We're all together.
I've lost track.
Referee, put 5 seconds back on the time clock, please. Here you
It's all
go.
about fairness.
No, you're reset, sir.
Okay. So, you know, we have a housing problem, obviously. But that's a perception that's given. The first thing we got to do is change our government, because we're living in a time of recession. We're living in a time of high prices, and the high demand for services and stuff like that have gone through the roof, okay? Until we get out of this, we're looking at interest rates right now. Average car interest rate right now for a new car is, even with good credit, is 8%. 8%, okay? Get a used car, 10%. So that's where our main focus is. We're going to have to follow in line with the government and how our national economy is doing right now. And that's why we need to change the government next year, to get a conservative government in there to lower interest rates, to lower the cost so it can be affordable for people. It'll draw down the cost of building materials. It'll lower the cost of housing, the housing market. And that's what we have to focus in on. We have to deal with what we have right now, and we have to deal with it the best way we can.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Miller, you get to end this conversation.
Affordable housing is necessary. There was a time when we saw so many mobile homes in Onslow County, and that was the affordable way to live. I lived in one, it was fine, you did your duty, you went home, you cooked and whatever, lived in a mobile home. But now the mobile homes are sort of kind of going away instead of some other places. So the cost of new housing going up is significantly higher than what we saw in the future. Now everybody wants a sauna and all this other stuff. So that needs to be factored in. About insurance, it is not the county, the insurance commissioner that makes this happen. He is against the insurance going up to that level. 99% at the beach level, 43%, 47% in Jacksonville. He is against it. I know him personally. I sent him emails, and I gave him a long list of why we should oppose it.
All right. Well, thank you all for your attentiveness to us today, and we certainly do appreciate it. It's now time for your summation, and we're going to start with Mr. Davis, and then we're going to go back this way, and then we're going to come this way, so everybody has a chance to be on the other part of that summation.
The Honorable Mayor Davis.
So,
Well, thank you, everyone, for being willing to listen to us, listen to my corny jokes when they come out, and just appreciate the opportunity to campaign and meet with you folks and learn about what your issues are and what we need to be solving in Onslow County. I will continue to reach out to you over the next few weeks as March 5th comes here very quickly. This is a sprint. And I didn't realize I'd have to run that fast. I haven't run this fast since like middle school. So, but certainly appreciate everything that everybody's saying. I will certainly work for our veterans. One thing that wasn't talked about in any significance was our museum. And I'm going to continue to fight for our museum. I think we cut the amount of tourism dollars that was going to the museum. I want to see that tourism dollars go back up. I think that, and I'll go ahead and throw that up.
you can't use it for the summation, sir. Ms. Colson.
That was never expressed in the rules, I wasn't.
Yeah, sure it was.
All right, I wasn't finished. At least give me 10 seconds to finish.
All right, Ms. Colson.
Ladies and gentlemen of Onslow County, I'm Cheryl Colson. My life's journey from being raised here to raising my own family has deeply connected me to advocating for our community. I've dedicated myself to the principles of the Constitution, justice, and fairness. These aren't just professional values, these are my personal values, but they're also the foundation of my commitment to serve on the Board of Commissioners. With your support, I can bring a perspective grounded in constitutional rights and community welfare to the forefront of our county's decisions. My name is last on the ballot, but again, I will always be first in the fight. Together, we can face our challenges with solutions and uphold our values and enhance our quality of life. Thank you for considering me as your voice and your advocate in Onslow County.
Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you. No false promises, just a firm commitment to serve the citizens of this county to the best of my ability. As a county, we face many challenges ahead. Navigating through those challenges require seasoned, dedicated leadership. No elected official is right 100% of the time. As humans, we do the best that we can. With the support of the people we serve, your voice is an important part of the government of this county. I will continue to make sure your voice is heard. Don't let anyone fear you. This is a leadership are often faced with making decisions that are difficult. Paul Buchanan makes only one promise. That promise is that I will continue to do the best I can to serve the citizens of Onslow County. My goal is to provide the maximum support to vital services in this county, possible within the realities of the resources available. Paul Buchanan has a vision for the best potential of Onslow County. Let us work together to make our county the best place to live, work, and play. I ask you for your continued support and vote on March 5th. Thank you.
Mr. Boone.
I think this year is going to be so different from anything we've experienced. I think a year from today, the issues we'll be dealing with, a lot of the things we talked about today, probably, maybe won't even be at the top of the list. I firmly believe that America first, citizens that are there to serve the people is the way to go, and I hope everybody will consider that when you're looking at the candidates. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Scott.
It has been a privilege to serve the citizens of Onslow County. I'm asking you to let me to continue to serve you. I have been a voice for you, and I will always be a voice for the people. I don't care how long it takes to do it. If we need more meetings, if we need more, whatever type communications that Walter Scott has got to do, I will always have your needs and concerns. Every year, I have provided my goals, visions, and concerns to the county manager. Some of those wouldn't have come to tuition. It is a privilege to serve on this board, and I thank you for that opportunity, and I asked you to let me go again. Thank you.
Patrick.
Thank you. As stated before, I do have experience. I was there for 8 years, from 92 to 2000. We made a lot of difference in Onslow County. At that time, I had a full-time job. Now I'm retired. I can give you all that needs to be given to make it better for the citizens of Onslow County. And that's what I'm about. I was born and raised here. I've seen a lot of change, but there's a lot of change to come and a lot of change for the betterment of Onslow County. So I'm asking on March 5th, please give me your vote and support, and I will serve you at my very best ability. And I've got a common sense approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore.
A vote for me is a vote for integrity and transparency. I will have an open line of communication. If I don't know the answer, I will research, find the correct answer. Thank you.
Mr. Miller.
Well, I write everything down because a former CSI, that's what you do. My goals, and I'm not a politician, I am a public servant, and I don't have any promises. I don't believe in promises, I set goals. Those goals should be achieved. My goals are to encourage more businesses, made in the USA industry, jobs for our young people graduating. I believe in vocational education for retirees, for high school graduates. Particularly, I support Coastal Carolina Community College, vocational training. I would like to see a water park, a putt-putt, and some other things that would attract tourists into Onslow County. I would ensure only proper use of tax money to keep taxes low. You can't get something for nothing, but you have to make sure it goes to the proper place. Ensure every part of Onslow County is equally represented fairly, and citizens will be listened to. Reduce EMS response times to Hubert, Swansboro, and Stone Sound area, and I support a VA medical facility.
Mr. Knapp.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. I've been a commissioner now going on 8 years, and one thing about me and a lot of my people that I've worked with, I'm very brutally candid and honest, and you'll see that. If you get in a meeting with me and I have an opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion. And if you have your opinion, I'm going to listen to your opinion. That's how I've always operated as an agent with NCIS, and I will always continue to do so. I love Onslow County. I retired here. My wife and family are here as well. And, one thing about being a commissioner, and I'm proud to say, I think I've proven my leadership ability, especially as the vice chairman for the last 2 years. But more importantly, my voting record has been consistent. It has been consistent all the way across the board. If I don't agree with something, I am not going to be swayed by an interest or lobby type organization to sway my vote. I will not vote that way. I will vote my conscience and what I believe in, and I have proven that. And I have gone against the grain because I didn't think something was right. So I hopefully on March 5th that you'll give me your vote and re-elect Robin Knapp for county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you all. And now,
You did well.
President of the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce, Laurette Legan.
Thank you, candidates, for joining us, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and your willingness to serve Onslow County. We want to thank the City of Jacksonville for the use of these facilities and their media services. Again, thank you to Jones Onslow EMC for being our sponsor. For our viewing audience, if you missed any part of the forum, just check the listings for G10 for the rebroadcast times and dates. And remember, your vote is your voice in matters that are important to our schools and to our county. Absentee ballot request forms are available now online at the Onslow County Board of Elections website. You can also find the dates, times, and locations for early one-stop voting. And again, Election Day is March the 5th, 2024, 6:30 a.m., 7:30 p.m. at your local precinct. On behalf of the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce, thank you for joining us for our Meet the Candidates Forum. This concludes our program.
Good job.